Welcome, Internet Nomad. This is my own Game Tales, and today we're going to look back at the entire Life is Strange series. Now, my history with the games. My first experience of this game involved Game Theory Live. I saw Matthew Patrick play the game one day. I didn't spend that much time watching. The only scene I saw was early on in episode 1. Now, before I talk about every game and other media, I will state that this retrospective will be spoiler free as much as possible. I just think that narrative games rely on the story. It wouldn't be fair to ruin the story. Reviews in my eyes should only encourage or discourage players from playing. I'll be uploading spoiler reviews in the future though, mainly because I want to talk and dissect the story elements. Now I'm going to run down every Life is Strange piece of media I'm going to review. I will start with the original Life is Strange, then Before the Storm, followed by the graphic novels, then the Welcome to Blackwell book, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, then Life is Strange 2, True Colors, and finally Steph's novel. Outside of the Life is Strange games, I will discuss the game Tell Me Why, since many fans treat this game as a part of the series. Now I have zero experience with the original game. I bought the remastered version on the Switch. At first I was only going to play the first game. Since the only way to buy the game on the Switch included the prequel, I decided to play both. After the great stories, I immediately bought True Colors. Then I found that Life is Strange 2 exists. I bought that game twice. I fully played it on PS4, and then the Switch port was released and I decided to buy that one too, just because I wanted the full series at my fingertips. Now, what makes a Life is Strange game? Usually it entails a power that one of the main characters have, and choices, and music. Every Life is Strange game has a great soundtrack. Most moments are paired with a song that creates a good atmosphere and mood. So let's begin my first retrospective with the original Life is Strange remastered. Max and Chloe investigate the disappearance of a close friend to Chloe named Rachel. Max and Chloe are childhood friends that parted ways, and a twist of fate brought them back together. Max learns she has the power to turn back time. This game is centered on choices. While the story doesn't really change much, your choices impact dialogue and how certain scenes play out. There's a part of the game where your previous choices could lead to a very big divide in the story. I'm not going to spoil it, but that decision made me want to replay the game to alter the events. The main mechanic of time travel really allows the gameplay to not feel like a point-and-click adventure. This game probably has the best gameplay in the series, followed by True Colors. The story has some great twists and turns, and I did not see any of it coming. Do not play the prequel until you play the first game once. The collectibles in this game are photos. Max has an interest in photography. My main criticism is the game's ending. Basically, none of your choices matter when it comes to how the game ends. It's a 50-50 choice about which ending you pick. It kinda kills the point of the tagline, this action will have consequences. What I like about this game, that the other Life is Strange games don't have, is the ability to change almost every choice you make. You will only get to see the immediate reaction, and then you could rewind time. This is great. It doesn't ruin the option of your choice, because the long-term effects won't happen until much later in the game. The second game, Life is Strange Before the Storm. This game is the only Life is Strange game without a power. I feel like they didn't want Chloe and Rachel to have powers, because Chloe kind of fangirls out about Max's powers, so having a power in the context of the first game wouldn't work. What I would do would give Rachel a hidden power that she doesn't share with Chloe. In fact, I think Rachel should have the power to read minds. It would be hidden enough that Chloe might not catch on. At last, the game's true mechanic is the backtalk sequence. Basically, Chloe roasts or convinces people by a string of dialogue. This mechanic is very strict though. Basically, you have to choose a reply based on the previous dialogue. I only failed one late in the game, but some of them only give you a couple mistakes before you lose the argument. I love the story of Rachel and Chloe, and it's cool to see the relationship between the two from the first game only alluded to. I kinda wish the ending didn't spoil the twist in one, because many newcomers to the series might want to play the prequel to understand the story before one. Life is Strange graphic novels. Max and Chloe feature in a graphic novel series based on one of the two endings from the first game. Max's adventures after the first game aren't necessary to read. This novel is only for people who really liked the game and wanted to know what happens next. Many fans don't see this as canon since it locks in one of the ending to be official. I bought a collection of 6 graphic novels and includes a new character that has his own power. The comics also explain that every decision from the game plays out in its own universe. The story revolves around time travel and dimension hopping. It also teases true colors by adding a prequel story that introduces Alex Shane and her powers. Welcome to Blackwell Book. This book is not necessary reading. It helps seeing exchanges between Rachel, Chloe, and Max. Some other characters join less frequently. If you're a big fan, maybe check it out. The artwork is cool to look at, but it tries to be 2 parts, art book and flavor text for the series. I don't think it does a great job at either of those things. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Now, this is a short demo for Life is Strange 2. I still think as a standalone game it works. Basically, you play as Christopher, a character you meet in the second episode. My one complaint about the demo is that it should give you a warning that interacting with your dad will end the demo at one point. True Colors had this feature when it replicated the open-ended game design Captain Spirit had. I was kind of confused when I saw the checklist of objectives and how it really wasn't used in Life is Strange 2. I thought the demo was hinting at a more open experience in the sequel, which brings us to Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2, the game, is one of the best in the series. I feel like my choices really mattered when it came to the ending. Basically, this game centers on 2 brothers, and the way you treat your brother changes which endings you could get. This game has split the fan base. I believe it's better than Before the Storm. It also changes depending on your choice in Life is Strange 1. This game is also a standalone story. You don't need to play the first to experience this game. Life is Strange True Colors. This game and Before the Storm was developed by Deck 9. I feel like Deck 9 learned so much from Don't Nod, who made 1 and 2. I feel like they saw Life is Strange 2 and made a game that could stand up to the best of Don't Nod. This game has great collectibles. Each one gives more story context. I miss most of them in the game, since the game doesn't do a great job at introducing them, so I miss almost all of them on the first playthrough. The gameplay is awesome. There's parts that feel like Life is Strange 2 demo where it's open-ended. The story is great, the power is really interesting, where the main character could feel others' emotions. Life is Strange, Steph's Stories, and Wavelengths. I decided to review Steph's Story and Wavelengths as one. I got the audiobook of Steph's Story, which is great because the voice actress lends her voice to the book. It's a great novel. I liked how it explores the past relationship, which is alluded to in Wavelengths. I love how this book and the graphic novels bridge the gap in time between True Colors and Before the Storm. Steph is a minor character in Before the Storm. This book and DLC really brings insight and makes it so Steph is the only character I would consider in True Colors. This book includes the first trans character in the Life is Strange universe, and I believe they have handled the subject better than Tell Me Why. Talking about Tell Me Why, here we go in review. Tell Me Why. Don't Nod Entertainment made their last Life is Strange game with 2. Tell Me Why is basically a Life is Strange game at heart. You play as twins who have the power to communicate in their heads and recall memories from childhood. Tyler is a trans male, and one of the first Triple H games to include a trans character as one of the protagonists. At first I prayed this wouldn't be awful representation for a trans character. Luckily, Donut did their research and made a believable character that understands the plight and struggles of being trans. The puzzles are the best in the series. Most of them focus on a book their mother wrote for them. I feel so stupid for playing the game because I used a gun. These puzzles aren't hard, but they are usually my least favorite parts of Life is Strange. I will replay the game blind once I forget the solutions. The collectibles are these cool models of monsters that tie into the childhood stories that the main characters shared with their mom. The story is one of the best of Don't Nod, and I wish the choices played more into the story. I feel like most of the choices just led to more or less information, which is why Tell Me Why is the title of the game. You are searching for answers. That concludes my first thoughts on the series as a whole. I will be posting spoiler reviews in the future. I'm going to alternate between a Life is Strange game and another game tale. In the meantime, play Life is Strange. It is one of my favorite game series outside of Nintendo.